This white car, I'm also coming to the white coloration in Staffordshire Bull Terriers. And why is that? Because I'm going to tell you a little bit more than only about the white coloration. In the past, in the show Staffordshire Bull Terrier, the white coloration was dominant. So what do I mean with that? If you look at the numbers, most of those, if you could only point out one color, the white coloration or dominant white with some other patches was the most common color in all Staffordshire Bull Terriers. The dog on the leash here is a Patterdale Terrier. He's more black with a brownish tint in color. But nowadays, Staffordshire Bull Terriers have a completely different palette in colors, with white being the least dominant color in amounts, etc. Which is a big... So what happened? Well, blue came from specific breedings, and they found that this coloration in the beginning was more in the athletic Staffordshire Bull Terriers found, but then it dribbled down into the show versions, and even exaggerated show versions, and nowadays, by selecting for that color, nowadays it's the most dominant color, and all other colors are just almost rare at this time. And there's something else happening. The most dominant color, especially white, has suffered the most. So you might think, okay, yeah, colors change. Also colors can change in the cars, for example. So for example, in the past, flip-flop color was not possible in cars, and now it is possible. But there's something else to consider, and that something else is this. If, for example, in the past 25% was dominant white and now it's less than 1%, you have lost 24% of the genetic population, you might think. But there's something else as well. If in the past, for example, the grey color, the blue color as they call them, were less than 0.1%, and they are now over 30%, that 0.1% has now been 13% of the total population, which means it has been 300 times as much in relative sense than it was in the past. So also those limited genes that consist of the blue-grey color are now that much exuberant, whereas at rich genes, because you already had a lot of dogs that had the dominant white color, are now almost completely gone. So you lost a lot of genes, and those that you got instead of them are very limited. So that is a big detrimental impact on the genetic diversity. That's one. Another point is that with blue collar, which is a dilution, you also have a higher chance of genetic diseases and other diseases. So the dogs become also less healthy in general. And if you select for performance, it's not a big deal. So the resulting pieces of the puzzle are not as beneficial for the breed. And of course the breed already had suffered quite a bit, because it was now selected more on looks, and the performance has been put aside quite a bit. Also the breed, the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, has two show standards. So the early show standard, which was close to the Bull and Terrier, and then the later one. And the later used show standard dictated that the weight could be the same, but then the height of the withers should be decreased. So that results in a more stocky built Staffordshire Bull Terrier. And even so, if you look at that show standard that they revise, then you see that most Staffordshire Bull Terriers, if not 95%, are bulkier at this moment than even the revised show standard. So that gives you some insight what has happened to the breed. Well, I'm not here to bash this breed because I like it a lot, but I do find it a pity that a breed that was once very functional and also very diverse in genes has now been reduced so much in genetic diversity and also in performance, all to look a certain way instead of act the same way. And of course I'm very happy that it's not as exaggerated as in the English Bulldog, by far not, but I don't like it especially if you have a breed close to your heart. Have a great day.